G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, 18 to 28. So look, that's lovely working weather. We had a shower this morning. This is my second go at doing the stew. There was just a misty shower this morning, and I thought I'd start filming through it. And yeah, it just got too heavy, and I couldn't dial out the sound on my sound equipment over here. So yeah, it was a nice change. It looks like it's gone. I can see the sun coming out now, so it'll probably be one of those days where the shed creaks and bangs and carries on. But nowadays I can dial a lot of that out. There's when I play some of my earlier videos I did, it cracks and bangs, and I got wind blowing and all sorts of things in them. But it'd be nice to be able to clean them up, but I just don't know how. So they'll have to stay there. You'll have to put up with that. But as time goes by, we're getting a little bit better at the sound. So anyway, we'll see. Still the same ugly bloke in the bloody picture, but anyway, that's all right. You're stuck with that. I've got the 65 in the bay here, as you know, and I made a start on that on filming on Saturday and Sunday. I've put 2 days in. You wouldn't know I'd done 2 days, the amount of work I got done. Well, what it looks like anyway. And this tractor doesn't have power steering, and I started on the front steering bolster here. And undoing that, of course, I broke a bolt. So I've, in one of the first videos, you'll see me unbolt all this, and I've left getting the bolt out, you know, welding a nut on top of what was left and getting it out, just as a, oh no, that's just how I chose to do this one. That's not how we do them all. Now, the shaft coming down through here, through the bolster, it had a little bit of wear in it, and look, about 10-12 thou wear in it, and I had some Sparex bushes here waiting to go with it. S40117 was the bush, and just by sheer chance, or not by chance, they must all be like that, but the bushes were undersized and needed reaming. So I had my adjustable ream here, and so I went up the house and got that. But before I actually reamed the bushes out, I had a look at the shaft, and you could see where it was worn on one side. It was out around a little bit, so I took the opportunity to take the shaft up into the lathe, and I trued it up a lot. And because I had undersized bushes, I could leave them the standard size and machine the shaft down to suit, apart from the bottom spline. And look, that's worked a treat. I had to, one of the bushes I had to ream, pushing the bushes in, one was slightly smaller than the other, which is fine. I machined the shaft down to the larger one on this end here, and when I went to put the shaft in, this bottom one was tight, so I used my ream, and we just rounded it up. It looked like it was a little out of round, but I reamed it out to size, and look, that fits beautifully. So that took a lot longer than I imagined it would. I think there's 2 or 3 videos just on that. One of them getting it out, then I broke a bolt, so I thought, well, we'll keep the camera rolling, got the bolt out. The drag link going up the back, it's had a heap of weld on it, so I'm going to have to fix that. But yeah, that's another few hours work, so it's going to be a long old process, this tractor, but that's fine. It's not a race. We'll just poke along, and I'll film what I think will be interesting. Things like just pulling a wheel off, or I didn't film taking the panels off. Like, it's just a nut gun, burp, 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 and catch it and chuck it in a box. So, and the fuel tank, I didn't film that. It's just, you know, loosen 2 bolts and slide it out. It's just, most people know about that, so I didn't think it'd be interesting. So, but this here took a bit of while, and the arm down here, this arm that sits below this tower, so it sort of sits down in under there, and when you turn this shaft here, that turns this fella here. So originally this being a cane haul-out tractor, this had been welded onto the shaft, but the weld had broken many years ago. And look, it feels okay. I'm happy. It feels good in the spline. I may use a bit of araldite or a bit of Loctite retaining compound, bearing retainer when I put this on. I just don't want it coming loose ever and dropping down like it had done. The movement in this shaft, we had probably 5 or 6 millimeters or more up and down, which helped when I put a puller on there. But yeah, look, we're taking particular care with this job. There's no shortcuts. We're just going to poke along and do it to the best of our ability and hopefully bring everyone along. You can see a bit of paint. That's not Fergie grey or anything. That's just a bit of rattle can primer. While that part's out and easy to look after, I wire brushed it. You know, wire brush a 75mm brush on a 4-inch angle grinder, and I give that a bit of a tidy up. And any little burrs and that I hit with the 3M Rolock brown Scotch-Brite, and so I've just tidied that up. So now it'll be a while before this goes back in. We've got a lot of work to do before it goes in, but now I've taken the time to tidy it up. I've popped a bit of primer on it. I don't know that it's a particularly good primer, but I'm just using a rattle can at the moment because the normal primer I use on my tractors, I don't sort of feel like for that one item, put some in the gun, mix it up with thinners, you know, just give her a squirt for 10 seconds and chuck the rest out. Yeah, so I do have a tiny little pot, but it's just a hassle. You know, you waste more thinners and all that than it's worth for a $10 rattle can, and a rattle can will do a lot. I've got the gantry all set up. It's set up and finished. I didn't get that picture in last week of it. It wasn't sort of done enough, but now it's done. I've been up the ladder. I've tightened it up completely. It goes from 2.4 or 2.5 to 3.6 metres. Look, I've probably got it at 3 and a bit metres, probably 3.2, 3.3, something like that. And that clears the bushy canopy on this 65. So look, that's fine. Yeah, that's. I do have the option of bringing it up. There is a lever on the side where you can lever it down, lift it up and put a pin and adjust it. But look, I just set it at that. I'm not even going to put those levers on. For me, with the forklift, I can just pop a pallet on the forklift or 2 pallets and just lift him up, put a pin in, or drop him down. So no big deal. For ages, I've had a digital scale for lifting, as on. Well, I've just put it on the endless chain. So when I'm lifting stuff up to 300 kilos or 500 kilos, I can't remember now, I've had it that long. And it'll just be interesting, some of the things we lift off with it, just to see what they weigh. So I've got that on there for some items, the lighter items. And yeah, look, that'll work well. While I'm playing with that, I've got some new lifting slings. And this is a 1 ton, 1 metre sling, and the other one is a 1 ton, 2 metre sling. Now I've got about 2 or 3 of the short ones and probably 4 of the long ones, and they're Sparex items. Hang on, I've got the part number here. The part number was just down here in spare parts on the bench. So yeah, they call it a lorry sling, so you can tell it come out of England, can't you? The 2 metre one for 1 tonne is S19219, and the 1 metre one is S19218. And they come with they're a Tex Span brand, and I get them through Sparex. I buy them. I've bought them ages ago, and I've had them tucked away, and I thought, well, with the gantry and a few lifting eyes, I'm going to try and use some slings and things. I've used heavy chains and all that in the past, but there's just no need for most of the time. This tractor, without the big wheels on it, should weigh about 2,200 kilos, something like that. So you know, parts of that tractor are, you know, not going to be a ton. So it's about having it light enough to do the job, yet heavy enough to be safe. And for those to be sold in Australia, the Australian, overseas, if it's 1 tonne, I think they got to test it to 2, but in Australia, for a 1 tonne sling, they got to test it to 4. So they'll have heaps of room. And I've lifted my big engines and that with these over time, but I just thought I'd get some nice, I'll get them out. I've probably had these for a couple of years tucked away, but I haven't had the reason to use them. So I thought, nice new gantry, nice lifting slings, and I've got some nice D-shackles and all that over there. So yeah, we'll work something out. A few proper lifting, I wouldn't mind a few more proper lifting eyes, which I do have a selection, but you never got enough of those things, do you? You know, with the right thread to put in and all that, but look, we'll work with that. Very busy at work. We started a new man, Daniel, last Friday. Friday's usually a little quieter, so we started him on Friday. So he's there full time now to help with all the parts. He's not for answering the phone and all that sort of thing. He's the warehouse fella, and he's going to help Ross, Allen and Nicole with these packing parcels. When the trucks come in, unpack them, mark them off and all that. So we didn't do many interviews. We had a lot of people and look, I suppose my own fault. On the ad for the job I put, you know, don't worry if you haven't got experience, we'll bring you up to speed. So we had all sorts of hillbillies hop in, and the thing was to send an email to Lance at Queensland Tractor Spares, but most of them just hit the reply button on Facebook and didn't add their resume or anything like that. So it was a bit of a funny old show. But anyway, Daniel did. He did the right thing with it, and I got him in for a yarn, and he's had 8 years experience in the job, and he used to get shipments ready for a cosmetic company. Hello, Santa. And for 20 pallets at a time. So he's a quiet spoken fella. He grew up in Bundy, but he went to Brisbane, and he sold his house in Brisbane, and now he's got a little fella and a missus and a little fella. He's come back to Bundy, his hometown, and I think he's a good fit for our business. He's polite fella, which has to be with the Judy and the coal and that in the place, and he's wanting to buy a house. So they've got the money from their old house that they sold, but because he's only been able to get casual work in town here, he worked on a farm for a month and things like that, set contracts and things like that. He's keen for a permanent job, so the bank will take him on to buy another house. So that's the motivation you want for a good staff member. Not come and go, I'm sick of this shit, I'm out of here. He's got a plan in his life, he's got the experience, and so I'm pretty pleased to have him. I think he's a good fit. So he may answer the phone from time to time, but that's not his role. Judy will probably not answer the phone anymore because with 2 lines coming in and Alan, Ross and Nicole there, that should take the weight off her, because she's been going in every weekend just trying to keep up with paperwork, and that she doesn't get time through the day because she spends half the time on the blower. The phone rings and she tries to help. So with Daniel taking the load off down on the shop floor, people can spend more time on phones and on books and following up on orders, which we're pretty good at, but now and then we drop the ball, and just because we're busy. And we're hoping that all works. So hopefully a bit better service. So that's what it's all about. Do the best service you can. So anyway, see how we go. Judy's been on to me for ages about fixing her push bike flat tyre, and for some reason I just haven't got round to it. The bike's been over the back. We haven't gone anywhere where we need it, and I haven't got round to doing it. So ages ago, a long time ago, I gave her the size of the tyre and I said, just go and buy a couple of tubes, buy one and buy a spare we can take away with us if we go away. And we'll get set up with our pushies to go for a lap. Well, not this weekend, next weekend. on the anniversary of Judy's sister passing from cancer, her boys, Dave and Ray, and us, we all get together, the brother-in-law, we all get together down Woodgate Caravan Park and have a bit of a get-together and oh, it's Dave's birthday as well. And yeah, we have a bit of a get-together every year. We've done it for 3 or 4 years now. And so on not this coming week, not next weekend, the weekend after, we'll be away. We'll be at Woodgate for the weekend and catching up with the rallies. And yeah, we take a moment to remember things and play up a bit. Yeah, enjoy ourselves. So I'm trying to get a few videos in the kit that I can just meter them out, because at the moment I often just bang them out, then I'll have a break and bang them out. And so I am going to try and meter these ones out, so to keep everyone interested, 1 or 2 65 videos a week, and the rest can stay in the bank until for times like that. On the weekend of the 20th of March, there's down at Bendemeer, New South Wales, there's the Grey Fergie muster and Land Rover muster. We booked in there this last week. We weren't sure how COVID would go. We just didn't know, and look, in the end I thought, bugger it, it's $10 for an entry fee, and we booked us. I've told the fellow at the caravan park we couldn't get a unit, so we're just going to sleep in the ute, in the camping canopy. And so all being well, we're heading down there. So we're going to try for that. Hopefully we don't get COVID, we're going to stay healthy, and we're going to go and say g'day. And my little brown grey Fergie here, we're going to take that down, the one that has been on the TEA series on YouTube. We're going to take that down. I'll probably have to take the plough off. My trailer's a bit short to put an implement on the back as well, but we'll just take the tractor with a drawbar in it and away we'll go with a big grin, and yeah, hopefully run into a heap of people that we talk to on Facebook, comment on the channel and all that. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be a break for Judy and myself. We're going to add a few extra days on the end, so that'll be great. I don't know how I get sidetracked so bloody easy, but the reason, back to Judy's push bike, the reason I was telling you that we're going away, when we go to Woodgate, we like to take the push bikes, because Woodgate's nice and flat, and if you want to go down the shop for some milk or that, you can just jump on a treadly and go, and it's just a nice thing. Jude and I like to poke along a bit, but Jude's got a flat tyre, so I sent her off to get some tubes one time back. It's quite a few months ago, and she got me some tubes. So this morning I thought, well, in a fortnight we got to be at Woodgate. It was raining, I couldn't do the stew. I'll grab Jude's bike and fit the tubes. And I think why she had a puncture was where the rubber ring inside the tube to protect the tube from the spokes had split. And it's only a new bike, but it's split. So I've put some cloth mesh tape in there, duct tape. But I went to get the tube and fit it, and it's got that end on there. So I had a look at that and I thought, what the bloody hell's that? I was expecting a normal car type one. And on the box it says 48mm French valve design. So, beats me. I haven't got anything to fit that. It's got the little tit in the end there. It can come up and down, but you can actually, you must turn that little screw and then you can't depress the valve. So, yeah, I'm just not 100% sure how that works, but so yeah, I think we'll go to town and I'll try and find a couple of standard tubes with a standard fitting, because on my Land Cruiser ute I've got all the gear. I've got built-in compressors and all that sort of stuff, the ARB twin compressor we put on, and air tanks and that, and yeah, just a standard car fitting just makes sense. So that's something I never knew about. Like I didn't know it even existed to tell Judy to look out for it. So yeah, who knows? Got some rubber bands here now, so that'll be all right. Okay, look, that's going to be it for the stew this week. Yeah, it's nice and quiet in the shed now. I might start filming on the 65 here. Now, I've got that bolster off and worked on that, and would you believe that just about took a day by the time I got bushes and out, and I machined the shaft and went up and back and buggered around. So, buddy, you wouldn't mind me paying me by the hour. But this morning, I'm planning on working from the front back, and so in doing that, I'm going to, you know, this morning I'll pull those heavy cast weights off, you know, the front wheels off. I'm going to film that because even though it's just pulling a wheel off, for those overseas that don't have our big heavy cast centres, it may be of interest. So yeah, look, I'll just film it, and I'm actually going to put one of those wheels on the scale to see what they weigh, just out of interest. The wheel studs are longer, they have a 1/2 inch plate on them, and you can see without the 1/2 inch plate that the cast centres would rub on the kingpin bolts. So it's an interesting thing that they bothered to get the whole front cast, but they must have got the offset wrong or something like that, I think. So I'll be filming that this morning, and as I work through the front axle and get back to the engine and things like that, I'm going to try and, like this bit here, pull it off, have a look, see what I need. If I've got the parts here, I'll stay with that part and put it together. If I have to wait for parts, well, you know, pull apart will be one video, put together will be the other. So anyway, I better get into it. Oh, look, it's very dirty. I couldn't get it out the back easily to pressure clean it properly to bring it in. So it's quite dirty to work on. But like as I get the front bolster off, then I swing the engine off. Well, swinging the engine off, I should be able to put it on a pallet and take it out with the forklift and give it a good clean. So it's a bit messy at the moment to work on, but anyway, that's just how it has to be for this job. But anyway, look, I better stop talking, start working. Now I can't put a push bike off. Buddy, the whole day's buggered now. I can't fix a push bike. I'll hop into this. I'll go handheld. I will show you the gantry this week. You'll be excited, I'm sure. I'll show you the gantry. I've actually, on that new charging station workbench, I've done quite a bit to that at the moment, and at the moment I've got plastic pots sitting on there with cabling for my filming, and you're always looking for different cables and things, and I've got quite a selection. Up the other end near the laptop, I've got all router bits from my CNC router. They're going to have a dedicated drawer in this toolbox, as they just sat on a table next to the router. So it's all about tidying things up, finding things when you need them and all that sort of thing. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. Have a great week. Stay with us. We'll go handheld, but we'll catch you next week, eh? Okay, that's the charging station and the editing station. I've been doing a bit of editing. I actually edited the first video up here and it worked pretty well. I may, on my laptop there, the screen's a little bit small to see the detail. I may, up the top there, I might add a 27-inch monitor so I can just plug HDMI in. I shamelessly put a bit of Sparex logo on there, which is off the top of a, that's off the top of a stand. I've got to put a screw in there yet so it doesn't keep dropping down like that. All this cabling and things like that, that's going to go in here where the manuals and the parts books and that are. So I've got a bit of tidying up to do there. All this here is router bits, and I'm dedicating that drawer there to it. So I need to, this morning I'll probably have a fiddle there and try and get all organised and see how we go. Now I put a camera mount up on the side here, and the Tascam, you can see when I talk it goes on there, the Tascam D700 I think it is, it can mount on there, so I can undo it. But the advantage of that is I've got these two lithium battery packs, and I can actually run this on those battery packs, so I'm not putting batteries in the back all the time. I have like a hot shoe mount. It's a cold shoe actually, there's no power going to it, on the top of the TAS cam here that I put one of these little brackets, and by doing that there, that little road follow there, that picks up the microphone from that's on my shirt. So, and that's a spare one in case we do an interview or something like that. Engineers Black Books. If you have a shed and you haven't got one, get them. Best little book ever. You can buy a bigger one too, so I'll see if I can find it in here. So, when you're blind and you want a bigger one, that's it. So you can see the comparison in size. They are just a great book. Like an Aussie fella does them, but they've got imperial, metric and all sorts of things. So electrical books and all sorts. So yeah, got a couple of biros and a clamp up there to hang me stubby cooler and me hat on and things like that. So that there is working out well. I found it very handy this last weekend. So having the sound up the top there, it doesn't matter which way that stand's facing. I have a good clear run with the sound. You know, it can pick up from me wherever I am in the shed. So yeah, look, that's a good thing. Okay, we'll come around. Now these wooden boxes, that's where I'm putting the parts that we're pulling off the 65 for the moment. The bonnet's quite ratty, as in it's had a lot of farmer fixes, I suppose, for want of a better word on it. I think I have all new tie rod ends coming, so we'll see from there. That's the engine kit. But if we swing around, you can see I've got the tank off. Look how dirty that is. I'll try and scrape a heap of that off before I go much further. But yeah, you can see I've got the pedestal out and yeah, catching all the junk. The radiator's out. The radiator's out the back. We have a new one. And these heavy cast centres will come off this morning, and I'll probably drop a kingpin out. I'll have new ones, so we're just seeing how that goes. And then over here, this is the box with the new parts. This isn't even all of them. New mudguards and grills, and I had to buy the grills off Quality. Sparex were out of stock at the moment. Yeah, we have kingpins and levelling box components and things like that. So I've got a spacer, MF65 mudguard spacer under my tripod now. Makes it a lot more stable, takes a bit of vibration out. Now we'll come up through here. There's Jude's push bike, and so we won't get that going today. Anyway, there's one of my working dogs. And come around, there's another working dog. They don't work very much. I got the whole place. Judy mowed up the front for me this weekend, and late yesterday afternoon I got the whole, all up the back here mowed, so that's a good thing. So I'm glad I got that done before the rain came. But we'll come back in here, and there's the gantry. So it's got the monkey on it with the 1 tonne. I did have endless chains, but I thought I'd get everything nice and new and matching and all that sort of thing. So it's got casters. They're like a nylon neoprene type caster with brakes on each wheel, and this lever is a way of lifting it up, and then you can lock it off with those screws. So I've just lifted it with the forklift, put these pins in, and you can see those must be taking a bit of the load. This is my little scale on the end of the hook that I'm just going to have a play with. But yeah, the monkey and the endless chain and all, it works well, runs nicely. If you've ever had anything, oh, that light's in the terrible spot, isn't it? Hang on. If you've ever had anything to do with those monkeys, you've got to shim them and make sure there's no side movement, so we've done that. But you can see the height of that tractor there with the canopy on it. Look, I've got plenty of room. A nice long chain gives you plenty of swing, so that's a good thing. I'm pretty pleased with that. So that's about it. That's a walk around the shed for this week. That's me flash new bloody jigger that I didn't show you last week. All right, there you go, eh? Have a great week. Catch you next week.